Right now on Denver7 News at 5, Thanksgiving like no other. Coronavirus runs rampant, and many stick to smaller celebrations, keeping family and friends safe. Plus, insight on how the virus could affect your body.
Genes are instructions. Genes tell your body what to do.
But is a DNA test really worth the time and effort? And serving up gratitude.
Having that touch of comfort during whatever the craziness that they're dealing with.
The volunteers making sure frontline workers feel appreciated at this stressful time. This Thanksgiving, many things feel familiar. The balloons bobbed along the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. Our homes are abuzz with conversation and laughter. And the rich aroma of roasted turkey and baked pumpkin pie lingers in the air. But many things are so different this year. That treasured time with family might be happening over video chat. In a year when we would really love to hold our loved ones close, we're working through celebrations at a distance. Thanks for joining me on Denver7 News at 5. I'm Jessica Porter in for Ann Trujillo. Happy Thanksgiving. Today, families choosing to celebrate the holiday separately are doing it for good reason. Coronavirus deaths in our nation are rising at a record pace. The number jumped 35% in the last week alone. Yesterday, nearly 2,300 Americans lost their battle with the illness. And for many, the urge to gather with family and friends is proving too strong to resist. The TSA says more than 1 million people passed through our nation's airports yesterday. The CDC urged Americans to avoid holiday travel. Masks, social distancing, hand washing, it all makes a big difference in slowing the spread of the virus. But to put an end to this pandemic, researchers are pinning their hopes on a safe and effective vaccine. A panel will meet on December 10th to consider granting emergency use authorization to Pfizer's version of the shot. But the AstraZeneca version is facing a setback. A production error meant some people in its study got a lower dose than expected. That research flaw knocked confidence in the early promising results. The team is now pushing ahead with more late-stage trials. Until you're certain you're immune to the virus, there's no way to know if or when you'll catch it. And the symptoms vary widely. Some people show virtually no signs, while others end up in the ICU. As I found out, some companies are now offering a way to gauge your chances of catching COVID and even predict just how serious your symptoms could be. What if a simple genetics test could predict your COVID symptoms? Would you take it?
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
I don't think so. I'd rather deal with it when I have to than worry about it in advance.
Sure, I'd be interested in a genetic test.
Some barely felt symptoms, whereas others felt ill for more than 60 days.
The DNA company based in Ontario, Canada, promises to tell you just how susceptible you are to catching the virus and how severe your case will be.
The DNA company helps you understand your DNA in a way that no other company does.
Genes are instructions. Genes tell your body what to do.
We talked to the DNA company's CEO, Kashif Khan. He says his company has been studying genetic effects on infectious diseases for the past 3 years.
At the DNA company, we've done the largest study of its kind, analyzing almost 10,000 individual genetic profiles.
This past summer, Kashif says they had a breakthrough about COVID-19, that the key to all of this is inflammation in your body.
If the genes that tell your body how to deal with inflammation aren't working well, then you're the person that's not going to be able to cope.
For $299, the company will do a full DNA analysis, give you COVID-related information, and tell you how to change your way of life to avoid suffering from the disease. Genetic research experts have a different take on whether science is ready for this leap.
To be perfectly honest, I don't think we're ready yet to be applying genetic principles to the clinical application of am I at risk of severe COVID disease. We just don't know enough yet.
But he says experts are working on it.
Welcome everyone. Andrea, are you going to lead off?
This is the COVID-19 Host Genetics Initiative. It's a group of researchers from around the world.
We currently have around 34 studies from 16 countries.
They have been getting together for the last 7 months, all trying to figure out how genetics play a role in coronavirus infections.
An area on chromosome 3 in which genetic variants clearly are related to the risk of severity of disease.
The University of Pennsylvania is a member of the initiative. So far, they have determined what factors contribute the most to how hard COVID hits.
Age, race, ethnicity, obesity, heart disease, lung disease, all the things we've heard about are really much more important right now in predicting risk than any kind of genetic variation that you might pick up with a genetic test.
Bottom line, for those who've been studying the COVID connection to genetics, before paying for a DNA test, do your research. You may end up paying for a lot less than you want to know. Checking coronavirus case numbers, our state reported more than 6,000 new cases today, a near record high. So far, more than 2,500 people have died from the virus. Another important one we're keeping an eye on, the number of hospital beds in use because of the virus. That stands at nearly 1,800. It's down a little from yesterday. The pressure on our hospitals and medical staff is huge right now. Today, Lutheran Medical Center in Wheat Ridge confirmed its morgue hit capacity, and staff was forced to use refrigerated trucks for overflow. Across the state, 14% of hospitals expect ICU bed shortages in the next week. Already stressed medical workers are facing yet another challenge, staff shortages. More than a third of Colorado hospitals are expecting staff struggles in the next week. As coronavirus surges to levels not seen since the start of the pandemic, frontline staff is stepping up again to shoulder that burden. As Denver7's Liz Gilardi reports, one group wants to make sure those heroes feel appreciated today and every day going forward.
On Thanksgiving, we might focus on the food.
This is how we can show love.
But these meals are a symbol of gratitude.
I want the hospital workers to know they're not forgotten. And that's why we're doing this whole fundraiser and this dinner.
Feed the Frontline is an effort that started back in March. At the time, the group raised $35,000 and fed thousands of frontline workers during those first few months of the COVID-19 pandemic. They thought their work was done.
A week and a half ago, Denver Health called us.
They were encouraging us to start it again.
So the group started raising money and called Hank's Texas Barbecue with a last-minute Thanksgiving order.
And then he called me on Friday and said, I know this is crazy.
They needed 1,500 Thanksgiving meals for local hospitals. As our healthcare system is being taxed, frontline workers need to feel that support now more than ever. That's why another group called Feeding Colorado Heroes is also back in action and raising funds to deliver more meals.
We're talking to hospital administrators who are sometimes in tears on the phone, just saying, you don't understand how much this means to us, to know that our community is supporting us in this particular way. They look forward to those meals.
As these Thanksgiving meals are dropped off,
having that touch of comfort during whatever the craziness that they're dealing with, it makes my heart sing.
A simple way to say thank you, not only on Thanksgiving, but every day.
Hopefully we're providing some sense of joy.
It's really the least we can do to show our gratitude.
Liz Gilardi, Denver7.
Forget snow on Christmas. We're looking out for flakes flying on Thanksgiving. Denver7 Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson joins me now. Hey, Mike, this shouldn't amount to too much snow in the metro, right?
No, Jessica, it's a pretty quiet evening. There's a couple of flurries here and there. It's chilly, temperature 39 downtown right now, 35 Commerce City, 27 up at Nederland and Blackhawk. No advisories, no warnings. A little bit of snow flurry activity moving across northern sections, Larimer County, Weld County, and that's about all we're going to see. Across the nation, it's a relatively quiet Thanksgiving Day, and our headlines, a few flurries coming up tonight. They'll be ending. A cool, dry Friday. Warmer on Saturday. Our next significant snow looks like it'll be the middle of next week. I'll have all those details coming up in just a few minutes.
Coming up, delivery drivers in high demand.
We went from essentially laying people off to hiring as fast as we could.
How a shipping surge is helping local entrepreneurs and how you can make life easier for busy drivers. And a championship without cheering. The pandemic changes for Colorado high school football.